Hello, welcome to highlights of the prologue of the 41st edition of the LIDL Deutschland Tour. This year's race much hillier than it has been the last 2 years when it has to say it's been something of a sprint fest. We are not expecting this year's race to be anything like that. However, last year's prologue was won in Essen by Søren Vanskjold, who went on to win the race. Would it be the same case today in Bad Orb? Well, the riders wouldn't get their chance at the 2.6 kilometre prologue until the youngsters had taken the circuit for themselves, rightly so, as they do on every day of the stages of the LIDL Deutschland Tour. And just after they'd done that, I can tell you, it started raining. The circuit was soaking wet for the first riders, who'd had 1 kilometre to climb and 1,600 metres to bring it home. And that meant the early stages were pretty dangerous too. It didn't work out quite so well for absolutely everyone. As you can see, first crash unfortunately was for Martin Reisenberg, but he wasn't to be the only one in the early stages who found the wet conditions were particularly tricky. Fran Mihajlovic also just managing to stay upright, the Croatian, in the very early stages. We had an early leader in the shape of Henry Ulig. The German rider was a popular hot seat contestant. However, he wasn't going to stay there for too long because others who came at him were already very close indeed. Edoardo Zambanini showing he's in fine sprinting form, the Italian for Team Bahrain victorious. Not quite close enough to knock the German off the hot seat, but it wouldn't be long before we saw the start of Paul Magnier. He was 32nd off, in fact, the Soudal Quick-Step man, fresh from his win in the Hamburg Cyclassics on Sunday, in very good form. But was he in prologue form? That was the question. And the answer was yes. It was clear. 13 seconds, 12 seconds, 11 seconds. Look at that. The best time for Paul Magnier by quite some way. And the Frenchman usurping Henry Ulig and sitting himself in the hot seat. Things were drying out as well. The rain had stopped in Bad Orb, in the spa town. And things were definitely getting quicker as well. Louis Barret turning up with a brilliant ride to be amongst the best of the climbers, the Frenchman for Visma Lease Bike. And then came Matej Vacek, the man who arguably is one of the best all-rounders this year. Danny Van Poppel, of course, finished across the line first in one of the stages last year before being relegated so often second in this race. Was this to be his day in the prologue? Well, there you go. Second fastest once again for the Dutch fast man. How would Matej Vacek do, the Czech time trial and road race champion? We waited. Max Schachmann came in with a good time too, the German former stage winner. And Vacek would be extremely close to Paul Magnier, but not close enough. The Frenchman was in the hot seat watching these strong men come and challenge him, but none of them could knock him off top spot. It was a fascinating clash between the fast men, the time trialists, and, as well, as you would see, the climbers. Max Volscheid, always a very firm favourite here, particularly in stages just like this. Big German for LIDL Trek, one of a very, very strong group of LIDL Trek riders here at the LIDL Deutschland Tour. Volscheid would be close, but not close enough. And Magnier still on top spot in Bad Orb. Would that be the way it would stay? Thibaut Del Grosso, one of the strong cyclocross riders and all-rounders who would definitely challenge, and he was close, the Dutchman. Magnier surviving, but he knew it. He was smiling still in the hot seat and watching the screen. Niels Pollitt, former general classification winner of 2 stages too. Pollitt was close, but still not close enough, the German time trial champion. And then came the Mexican road race and time trial champion, fresh from his 3rd place at the Tour de France, Isaac Del Toro, ready to start. Tobias Müller was challenging as well, another of those strong Germans for Unibet Rose Rockets, but still not close enough. Del Toro started, and we were aware that really anything could happen. He's not the best sprinter, he's not the best time trialist, he's probably the best climber, but really, the prologue, it's only 2.6 kilometres. He's fresh from 3rd place at the Tour de France. Would he challenge the likes of Marco Haller, Paul Magnier? There were no intermediate time checks in this Bad Orb prologue, just the clock and the finish. We wouldn't know until he got there. Lawrence Rakes was late and he challenged his own teammate Paul Magnier, who was enjoying seeing exactly that happen. But in the back of his mind and ours, we knew that Isaac Del Toro is not to be underestimated. Paul Magnier knew it, Isaac Del Toro knew it, And the clock told us the answer. Look at that. It was close, but the green was all that mattered. Isaac Del Toro across the line, winner of the prologue and wearer of the first general classification leader's jersey.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. Honestly, I feel good on the bike, but yeah, mentally I'm recovering still, so yeah, we'll see how it is the week. But yeah, happy to be back.
The goal is to win the Deutschland Tour.
What else, yeah.
And so with that, we knew how things were set going into the first stage, the Thursday stage. Isaac Del Toro will go into it as race leader, but look at these tiny, slender gaps after that 2.6 kilometre prologue. They've been rounded up or down. Paul Magnier will start 2 seconds down on the Mexican champion, Isaac Del Toro, who seems to be in extremely fine form, following on from his third place finish at the Tour de France behind Tadej Pogačar, of course. Will he go on to win this year's race overall? You'll have to stay with us to see.